Number 10. Ringworm. First twist. Not a worm, it's a fungus. Ringworm walked into the naming office, lied confidently, and apparently nobody checked its ID. An infected cat can spread it through direct contact, and the fungus can also hitch a ride on things such as bedding, clothing, and towels. Around 4 to 14 days after exposure, you may develop an itchy, scaly, often ring-shaped rash. How hard is it for your cat to give you? Once the cat actually has ringworm, not especially hard. A cuddle can be enough to create exposure, so catchability gets a 7 out of 10. And how fast can it kill you? That is not really ringworm's career goal. Ringworm wants you alive, itchy, and repeatedly examining your arm under increasingly brighter lighting. Final boss rating, 1 out of 10 for most healthy people. The real problem is that it spreads well and can bounce around a household like the world's least exciting group project. Number 9. Salmonellosis. You normally hear Salmonella and think undercooked chicken, not Mr. Fluffington. That instinct is correct. Contaminated food is a much more common route, but cats can sometimes carry Salmonella, particularly after eating contaminated raw pet food or being exposed to infected animals, and they can shed it in their poop. To reach you, the bacteria usually need the fecal-to-mouth route, which is a medical phrase that instantly ruins every snack in the room. Symptoms can begin anywhere from 6 hours to 6 days later: diarrhea, stomach cramps, fever, and possibly vomiting. The illness usually lasts 4 to 7 days. For most healthy people, this is less final boss and more bathroom speedrun. But dehydration and more serious illness are greater concerns for young children, older adults, and people with weakened immune systems. How hard is it for your cat to give you? Medium to hard. The cat has to be carrying it. Contaminated material has to reach your hands or food, and then your hand washing has to take the day off. Healthy house cats generally pose a low salmonella risk. Number 8. Zoonotic hookworm, also known for causing something called cutaneous larva migrans. Here is the needlessly elaborate delivery system. An infected cat poops in soil or sand. Hookworm eggs mature and hatch. Then you walk barefoot or sit with exposed skin on the contaminated spot. The larvae burrow directly into your skin. Congratulations, your foot has been selected as public transportation. The classic result is severe itching and raised, red, squiggly tracks that appear as the larvae wander through the upper layers of your skin. For most people, the larvae eventually die and the symptoms clear. Rarely, certain types can cause deeper problems. How hard is this to catch? Pretty hard. It requires an infected animal, contaminated ground, time for the eggs to mature and hatch, and your bare skin arriving in exactly the wrong place. This disease is less cat attack and more Rube Goldberg machine made of poop, sand, and regret. And how fast can it kill you? For the usual skin form, that is not the main concern. The horror points come from staring at an itchy line and realizing the line may be moving. Number 7. Cat scratch disease. This one is caused by Bartonella henselae bacteria. Cats commonly pick it up through fleas, and people can become infected when a scratch is contaminated with flea dirt, which is the polite marketing term for flea poop. A bite or a lick on an open wound can also transmit the bacteria. Kittens are the usual chaos interns here, cute, energetic, and significantly more likely to use your arm as parkour equipment. A small bump may appear near the scratch, followed 1 to 3 weeks later by a low fever and swollen, tender lymph nodes. If the scratch is on your hand, your armpit may suddenly feel as though it is hiding a golf ball. Most cases resolve without antibiotics. Rarely, though, the infection can involve the eyes, liver, spleen, brain, bones, or heart valves, particularly in someone with a weakened immune system. How hard is it for your cat to give you? Medium. The cat needs the bacteria, often has fleas, and then has to break your skin or contaminate an existing wound. How fast can it kill you? Death is exceptionally rare. Its signature move is not instant doom. It is making you explain to a doctor why your lymph node has become emotionally attached to being enormous. Number 6. Pasteurellosis. Pasteurella bacteria can live in the mouths of perfectly healthy cats, and cat teeth are basically tiny needles. They can push bacteria deep into tissue, leaving a small puncture that closes at the surface while the party continues underneath. Pain, redness, warmth, and swelling can appear fast, sometimes within hours or by the next day. Most infections remain around the wound, but some can spread into an abscess, a joint, or even bone. Bites to the hand are especially troublesome because your hand contains many tightly packed structures that strongly prefer not to become a bacterial studio apartment. How hard is it to catch? Without a bite, scratch, or cat saliva entering broken skin. Difficult. After a deep cat bite, however, the catchability meter shoots upward. This is one of the few entries where the cat can complete the entire transmission process in one extremely efficient chomp. And how fast can it kill you? Death is uncommon, particularly with prompt medical care, but the infection can move quickly enough that "I'll see how it looks next week" is a terrible strategy. Wash cat bites and scratches immediately with warm, soapy water. Seek medical advice for a serious wound or one becoming red, painful, warm, or swollen. Number 5. Capnocytophaga. Capnocytophaga. That sounds less like bacteria and more like a coffee order you are too embarrassed to correct. These bacteria are commonly found in dog and cat mouths, but human infection is rare. It usually happens after a bite or when saliva enters an open wound. Symptoms often begin around 3 to 5 days later and can progress from a local infection to sepsis. This is where the ranking gets serious. Complications can include kidney failure, gangrene, heart attack, and, in some cases, amputation. People with weakened immune systems, heavy alcohol use, or no functioning spleen have a greater risk of severe illness. In people without a spleen, serious infection can progress to organ failure and death within 24 to 72 hours after symptoms begin. So how hard is it to catch? Very hard overall. Most people exposed to cats never become sick from it. Catchability, 1 out of 10. But if it becomes established in a high-risk person, final boss rating, 9. The joke is the name. The disease itself does not need help being dramatic. Number 4. Toxoplasmosis. Toxoplasma gondii is a single-celled parasite. In most healthy people, infection causes no symptoms at all, or perhaps a flu-like illness. The stakes are much higher when someone becomes newly infected during or shortly before pregnancy, because the infection can affect the fetus. In people with severely weakened immune systems, it can damage the brain, eyes, and other organs. But here is the cat-related plot twist. You do not generally get toxoplasmosis simply by petting a cat. For the litter box route, an infected cat has to shed the parasite in its poop, and you have to accidentally swallow material contaminated by that poop or by contaminated soil. Even better, the parasite does not become infectious immediately. It generally needs 1 to 5 days after being shed. That means scooping the litter box every day is basically interrupting the parasite's loading screen. Undercooked meat, contaminated produce, water, and soil are also important routes, so blaming every case on the nearest innocent tabby is lazy detective work. How hard is it for a well-cared-for indoor cat to give you? Usually fairly hard, particularly when the cat does not hunt, is not fed raw meat, and the litter box is cleaned daily. How fast can it kill you? For most healthy people, it generally does not. For a fetus or a severely immunocompromised person, however, the danger rating changes completely. Number 3. Sporotrichosis, also called rose gardener's disease. Normally, this fungus lives in soil and plants and enters the skin through small cuts, hence the rosethorn nickname. But a species called Sporothrix brasiliensis has been spreading from cats to people, particularly in parts of South America, and cat-associated cases are an emerging concern elsewhere. An infected cat can spread it through bites, scratches, contact with infected sores, and yes, potentially sneezes. Symptoms may take 1 to 12 weeks to appear. The usual version starts as a small, painless bump. More bumps may then appear and turn into open sores, sometimes marching up an arm in a line. Most infections remain in the skin. More severe disease can affect the eyes, lungs, bones, or central nervous system, and may require months of antifungal treatment. How hard is it to catch? Extremely location dependent. In most places, your average healthy house cat is not a sporotrichosis sprinkler, but handling a sick cat with suspicious sores in an affected region is an entirely different calculation. How fast can it kill you? Usually not quickly. This is more of a slow burn horror villain. It takes its time and may turn treatment into a very long side quest. Number 2, plague. Yes, that plague. Yersinia pestis still circulates among wild rodents and their fleas in parts of the world, including rural and semi-rural areas of the western United States. Cats are particularly susceptible because they may hunt and eat infected rodents. A sick cat can expose a person through infected fleas, bites, scratches, contact with bodily fluids, or, in the pneumonic form, infectious respiratory droplets. Symptoms commonly begin 1 to 7 days after exposure. Bubonic plague can cause fever and extremely painful swollen lymph nodes called buboes. Pneumonic plague attacks the lungs and can progress brutally fast. How hard is it for your cat to give you? Under normal circumstances, extremely hard. You need to be in a plague area. The cat needs the correct wildlife or flea exposure, and then you need close exposure to the infected cat or its fleas. Catchability, 1 out of 10. But how fast can it kill you? Untreated pneumonic plague can be fatal within roughly 18 to 24 hours after illness begins. The good news is that antibiotics work and early treatment can save lives. The bad news is that plague does not accept "I wanted to sleep on it" as a medical plan. Number 1. Rabies. A cat can transmit rabies if it is infected and its saliva enters your body through a bite, scratch, open wound, eyes, or mouth. Important detail: the cat has to actually have rabies. A vaccinated indoor cat is not spontaneously manufacturing the virus because you were 10 minutes late serving dinner. The terrifying part is the timer. After exposure, rabies may remain silent for weeks or months while the virus travels toward the brain. Once neurological symptoms appear, the disease is nearly always fatal. But this is also the most preventable final boss on the list. Post-exposure treatment, which can include thorough wound care, rabies immune globulin when indicated, and a vaccine series, is nearly 100% effective when given promptly after an exposure. So the real answer to "how fast can rabies kill you" is this: the dangerous part is not immediate death. The dangerous part is waiting. You do not wait for symptoms, because symptoms are the point at which the exit door is almost closed. How hard is it for your cat to give you? Usually, very hard. The cat must be infected, which often means it has been exposed to rabid wildlife. In the United States, rabies is found most frequently in bats, skunks, raccoons, and foxes. Outdoor and unvaccinated animals carry a very different risk from properly vaccinated indoor pets. Catchability, low. Final boss rating, 11 out of 10. And that is why rabies wins the ranking, and why vaccination wins against rabies. Final reality check. Your cat is not a biological weapon. It is a biological roommate with terrible boundaries. Routine veterinary care and vaccination, flea and parasite control, daily litter cleaning, hand washing, and taking bites seriously remove a huge amount of risk. Most cats will never give you anything on this list. They will give you hair on your clothes, judgment during private moments, and a loud hallway sprint at 3 in the morning. Which entry surprised you the most? And has your cat ever attempted an ankle-based assassination?